So it's not quite the medal or the end to the World Championships that HS Prannoy would have wanted after that sensational win that he registered just about yesterday evening over Victor Axelsen. He wasn't quite able to replicate the kind of comeback that he did make yesterday. Today, in fact, on the day in the semi-final again, Kunlavut Witsisan, the Thailand third seed player against whom HS Prannoy was playing. He in fact had a winning start, HS Prannoy, on the day, but later on there we saw a comeback from the Thailand player who was just on the top of his game on the day, and second consecutive final now for Kunlavut Witsisan. He was the finalist last year as well. In fact, ended with the silver medal in the 2022 edition of the World Championships. This time around, he would be hoping for a change in color of the medal. But speaking of medals, a first medal, a maiden medal for HS Prannoy. It's his best run as far as the BWF World Championships is concerned. He's made it to the quarters on previous occasions. In fact, he's made 3 consecutive quarterfinal appearances. Only Prakash Padukone has done that in the past. But as has been the career graph, let's say, of HS Prannoy, it's been a mixed bag, and we all know that. Today also ended up being quite that day for HS Prannoy. Speaking of how the game progressed, let's just talk you through set game by game as to how the match progressed. Like we told you earlier as well, it was the first game went to HS Prannoy. By the way, an interesting pattern: in all 3 games, Prannoy did win the first point, or the first set of points, because in the second game, in fact, he won 4 straight points. But let me tell you everything as to how things progress set by set. So in the first set, again, the first couple of points did go to Prannoy, but then there was a comeback of sorts that we saw from his opponent. It was 5-5 at one point, but where exactly did he build the lead? He built a straight, he enjoyed a 6-point burst in the first game, and that made it 11-5, after which he was the only player, let's say, in the match in that particular game, and he got the better of his opponent after that after that lead that he built, even though he was a little scrappy towards the end, one can say, because ultimately he won the first set 21-18, but he had established a lead and maybe just gave away a few points right towards the end. But in the second set, well, you saw a strong comeback being made from the from the Thai opponent, because Kullavut, wasn't going to give it away. He is, like we told you earlier as well, he is the he's the finalist from the 2022 edition, and then it was him who had a 6-point burst in the second game. It was tied at 7-7 at one point in the second game, after which he went ahead and scored 6 consecutive points. He enjoyed a similar burst later on as well, built a healthy lead, and went on to seal the second game, meaning that the 2 players were headed into a decider. In the decider, though, again, it was Prannoy who got the first point, but after the first point that he got in the third set, you saw 5 straight points being scored by Kunlavut. So he went ahead and really was in the groove. Now both players, by the way, were a little scrappy to begin with, but Kunlavut, the comeback was on for him. He enjoyed a similar burst later on as well, after he crossed the 10-point mark, and then built that lead. At one point he was leading, I think 13-18 is what the lead looked like for him. Ultimately, though, it ended 21-14 in the favor of the third seed, who comes from Thailand. A second straight final for Kunlavut over there. And for HS Prannoy, well, he put out a tweet. I remember him putting out a tweet a couple of days back. He said that he's a step closer to the dream. He would have definitely been dreaming of a different colored medal, but surely he would be happy with the fact that he gave it his all. He was persistent, something that we saw yesterday, something that we saw today as well. Not easy, by the way, back to back days to be playing 3-game matches, but that has been the pattern with him also. We know he likes to take it deep. Prannoy does thrive on perseverance. He does thrive on just taking the match to the last possible game. to the last possible game. And that's what we saw from him today as well. But on the day, I personally felt that he did start to wear down a bit in the second game, and that's where you thought that maybe he doesn't have the legs perhaps to go all the way. And somewhere you thought that even though he was trying to make good use of the court, he was trying to run down his opponent, but at the end probably his unforced errors did cost him the match, and that's where the game got decided. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that India's streak, which started all the way back in 2011 of, let's say, landing a medal at the BWF World Championships, that streak, thanks to HS Prannoy, does continue. India were short of a medal courtesy his victory against Victor Axelsen yesterday, and that is going to be the streak going forward as well, one would hope for. And HS Prannoy now being the only medalist for India in this year's edition of the World Championships. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us for this quick update. News and updates follow here in Sports Day. Do tap that bell icon so that you know every time we got an update for you.